Hi guys, my name is FreakCP and welcome to our first Lua tutorial. I'm gonna be teaching you guys from like the really bottom, so I'm gonna assume you have no background on programming or whatsoever. So first of all, we're gonna start by downloading an IDE, which is pretty much an incorporate development environment, which is it's a text editor. It's where you write your code. So we're gonna start by downloading ZeroBrain. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. Uh, this is I'm choosing this one in particular instead of like Visual Studio because this one comes with a Lua compiler, which helps us compiling Lua code. So you just come here, you press download, you go take me to the download page this time, and you download this one, the execution installer. Unless you're on Mac OS or Linux, then you have the other two. So after pressing this, you just wait until this is downloaded, you click it, and you just follow the instructions. It's usually just spamming next, so it shouldn't be too hard. So once you have this settled down, you're gonna search for ZeroBrain on your computer, and you're gonna open the IDE. Okay, so now you have this interface. I'll be explaining that very soon, but for now let's actually create a new folder. You can create it anywhere, it's kind of indifferent. And I'm gonna call mine like tutorial or whatever. And now inside of this folder, you're gonna right click, new, and you're gonna put a new text file. So you usually want to call this main, but you can call it whatever you want, and you want to change what comes after the dot to Lua. And you press yes, and now you have a Lua file. If you cannot see the dot, you come to this stop thing. It should say watch in English, and then you come to the right side and you activate this check mark, which says extensions by the file name. Okay, so now once you have this, your ZeroBrain should be empty, I think, when it's the first time you open it. So it should be something like this. You're just gonna drag the file into here. Okay, this doesn't actually work. So you're actually going to File, to Open. You're gonna look for that folder you created, tutorial, and you're gonna open this file. Okay, once you're in here, you always want to click here on this blue symbol, because what this makes is it sets the project, which is like the folder you're working in, to the folder where that file is. That's why you should have the file inside of a folder instead of having the file, for example, on the desktop. Okay, so this is how you set up everything. I know this is already sounding a little too complex, but you get used to it. Okay, so before we start coding in Lua, you just need to be sure that the environment you're working in is in Lua. So you're coming to project, you're coming to Lua interpreter, and you want to make sure you have it set to Lua 5.3, which is like the latest version of Lua. Okay, so now everything should be correct. So now let me explain you the basics of this environment. So here on this big window is where you write your code, so you write whatever you want in here. Here on the left you have the folder, where you can see all the files of the folder that you're working with. I think the outline is literally just the script you located. And then you have the output, which is another very important window, which is where the results of whatever you're working with are gonna show up. Okay, so now I'm gonna zoom in. You do this by holding Control and using your mouse wheel. And I'm gonna start by teaching you the very basics of Lua, which is how to declare variables and how to print them. So first, since I'm assuming you guys don't know anything about coding, I have to tell you the type of variables that exist. So there are different types. There's string, which is pretty much text. You usually just open and close brackets and you write whatever you want inside of them. So like hi or test or whatever. This is a string. A string is just a piece of text. So then you have numbers, values. So for example, like literally any number, you can have a dot. This is pretty much how you make numbers. I mean, it's just literally writing the number down. And then you have bool values, which are true and false. I'm not gonna get too much into detail yet, but for you just to have an idea of the type of variables they are. So you have strings, you have numbers, and you have bool values. So Lua is actually a language that doesn't have variable types. I mean, it does, but you don't declare them. What does this mean? This means that Lua itself knows how to distinguish the variable types, so you don't have to write them down. Like usually in programming languages, you need to like string and then you write the string or whatever. In Lua, you don't have this. Lua itself knows what the variables are. So now let's start by explaining how to declare a variable. So to declare a variable in Lua, it's very simple. You always write local. Now you write always with a space. Now you write the name of the variable. For example, I'm going to call this first number. Make sure that the name never has spaces. If you want to have a space on the name, just use an underscore. Never do this, or this is going to give a syntax error, which I'll explain in a following tutorial. So you just write the name that you want for the variable, and then you put equal, and you write whatever you want. For example, first number equals 3. So this is actually a pointer. So variables are like containers. You write a name and you assign a value, whether it's text, number, whatever you want it to be, to that text. So I'm assigning 3 to first number. You can do this for text as well. So I'm going to do text equals test. And you can do this for bool values, which are true or false. So I'm going to call it state, because why not? True. So this is how you declare variables in Lua. Okay, so now another important thing is how to print. Printing is pretty much telling the output, which is the window below here, something. So for example, you write print, you open and close brackets. I'm going to explain in the future why you have to do this. And now you put whatever you want to print within the brackets. So if you want to print a text, you use the brackets the same way you did here. And let's say just test. And now once you compile this by clicking in this green triangle, actually that's not how it works on Zero Bright, I forgot. You should press this one. This one comes with the output, this one doesn't use the output. So you press this square here, and now if you come to output, you can see test. This works for everything, so from strings to numbers. Let's do it with a number, see? And also with true or false. So you can see it printed true. Something really cool about print is that you can actually print variables. So for example, you want to print this 3. So like you want to print this. You do first number, compile, and now it prints 3, because first number is referring to 3. So print is very useful to check on what your variable is currently pointing at, because you can change a variable by simply writing its name, its name like this, and equal, and then you have number, for example, 2. So now when you put the print, it's actually going to say 2 instead of 3 because I'm assigning it to 2 here. Another important thing I want to leave clear from the start is that the codes are read from top to bottom. So if I put the print here as an example, it will actually print 3 because I'm asking it to print the first number before assigning a number 2. So that's why it's printing 3. Okay, so this is, this is probably a lot of information if you're not used to coding. If you already coded in different languages, then you're gonna understand this very easily, and you're gonna be like, God, Lua is so easy compared to other languages, because it is. It's a very high-level language. You don't need semicolons, you don't need nearly anything. It just works in a very simple way. So this is it for the first video. I'm actually gonna do videos for ways on how to use Lua. For now, I'm just gonna do like raw code and explain Lua from the very bottom. And then I'm gonna do tutorials on how to use it for like Roblox Studio, Corona SDK, Love2D, and other softwares that I usually use to create Lua content. And how to do a Discord bot in Lua, for example, which is something that I find very interesting, and there is not many information on the internet. Which is the main reason why I'm doing this, simply because there's nearly or barely any Lua tutorials online. So that's it for today, and I see you guys in the next episode or part, or however you want to call it.